something that's really common with entrepreneurs and business owners is that struggle of seeking acceptance from close friends or close family members and not knowing what advice to take, or if that kind of hesitation, almost negativity a little, it's off-putting for sure. And so navigating what to believe, how to act, who to trust with that kind of advice can be tough.
Yeah, you get so excited when you have this great idea and you're getting it done. Like you're all of a sudden you start this business and you want to do it, and the first person that you really want to, the people you're closest to. And you sit there and you lean on them and say, what about this? But, sometimes I think you just need to look at that for what it is. And it's not necessarily, these are the people that love you the most, and I think it's a protective measure to a certain degree. They don't want to jump on the bandwagon and be all too fluffy and excited. It's almost like, I think I was talking to you about this, like if you're about to buy a house, it's, Dad, can you give me some advice? Yeah, Shannon, I'm going to come with you. I'm going to come look at this thing. We're going to make sure everything's right. But he's not sitting there saying, oh, all the great things about the house to get you overexcited. He's going to be kicking the foundation.
He's waving the flag of caution. He's like, hey, wait, look at this. Some things that you can't see just yet because you're just so excited that you're about to buy a house. Right.
So, and I think your friends and family, when you're starting a business, I think a lot of times it's partially that. So I think, that's one of the things, because it is a huge gut check. When you're sitting there, somebody you care about, you're really close to, you're like, hey, I'm so excited about this, and they just freaking pop the balloon, and you're like, well, fuck, man, that's not cool.
There is also, and I refer, because Katie, who works with us, was telling me about this. She had this same experience, and what I immediately thought of, if you've ever seen the movie Zootopia, the bunny cop, Hops, I think. In the beginning of the movie, from day one, that was her dream to become a cop. And it was unheard of for the bunnies to become a cop. You literally see her parents and her brothers and sisters telling her, oh, well, why don't you just come work on the bunny farm? This is what bunnies do. Basically insinuating that she was going to fail because they hadn't seen it done before, and it wasn't typical for bunnies to do that. And even in the movie, they kept FaceTiming her, and she was struggling, and they were just like, we tried to tell you kind of thing. But then once she got over that, because she had to keep dreaming it for herself, you hear it, but it doesn't mean you have to listen to it.
And I think and again, I think you need to hear it, but
doesn't mean you have to follow it.
Or get your feelings hurt by it. Because I think a lot of times it comes from the right place. Maybe it doesn't. But either way, if there's an objection in there, you can look at it and say, is that really an objection? And you justify what you're doing against it. I wouldn't ignore it, because I think, especially when we're talking about parents or people that you completely respect in the business, or friends of yours that know who you are, they might be pointing out things that you might have glossed over because you were so excited about it. So they might actually have really good ideas that if you kind of look at it and say, okay, I get your point, and overcome those objections, because that's just going to make you a better business person, a better person altogether. So I agree. If somebody has that, like if a real customer that's outside of your family comes in and has that, then you know how to handle it.
And this whole conversation got started because Katie was saying, I love my family, love my friends, but sometimes I feel like my biggest supporters are people who I barely know. And so when you think about big things like that, when you're so excited about an idea, I think majority of the time it is coming from a good place. They want you to be cautious and hesitant because they don't want to see you fall. They don't want to see you get hurt by something. But also it is good to have those other kinds of people that are supporting you from the beginning through the end. Small business owners talk about it all the time. Like, sometimes your friends won't buy from you. Sometimes people you barely know will cheer you on through and through. Part of the journey of being a business owner. And I think it's something that's not talked about that often, but it's a common thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny, too, how a lot of times when you sit there and you say, oh, I know the owner of that, maybe he'll hook us up. Like, if you're friends with somebody that has a business, don't go to the business to try to get a deal. Go to business to support them. Go to the business, buy their goods at full price, because that's what the retail is, and that is what a true friend does. They support their friends and buy from them and then brag to everybody else of how freaking awesome it is. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And they can, in private, if you have a problem with something, you tell them, like, these fries sucked or whatever it is. Just you talk to them, true, but don't sit there and ask for free shit when that person is struggling and try to do something for them. All the great businesses started and had a ton of naysayers.
Yeah.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, nobody will ever pay $2 for coffee. I can get it for 50 cents. I mean, you're paying $8, $10 for a coffee now. Who's laughing? Laughed all the way to the bank. But I think that's part of it. You're going to have naysayers no matter what. And most of them are probably going to come from your friends and family.